So I found someone on Twitter who talked about Stasi tactics. And she warned everyone this is coming, remote neural monitoring is coming, all of this is coming to the US. And I'll link um, in the description a post that I did, or I may do a new post just because it's hard for me to sometimes find things, where she warned us. And this was, I think, in 2019, but it was definitely before all this. So to see these tactics and how they were used and how they are still being used, but not. I would love to find someone who, and I found a few documentaries about it, but I would love for someone to find out why these tactics worked in places like Germany, in communist countries, but they don't really work in the US because I think freedom of speech, that's my opinion, that freedom of speech is a reason why some of these tactics don't work and our very basic freedoms, which is why I find it weird that at the same time this is happening, people are trying to limit our freedom of speech. You're not supposed to talk about this. You're not supposed to talk about that. It's just too much for me to not make a connection. It's like, you see a connection and I would have to be like, nothing in order to be illogical enough not to see a connection between these tactics being used and people wanting to take away our freedom of speech. The other thing is if they're generating AI to not just interact with human beings, but to be able to manipulate us. So if AI can now take these foreign Stasi tactics and bring it into every American's household and we're not prepared for it, then we have an issue. I don't want the tactics that worked to hurt me to then be put into a computer and work to hurt a lot of other people. Something they said when this was happening to me. They still talk to me. But something they said that really bothered me and still bothers me. Like I said, when you are a logical person, you start to think, you build upon one thing after another. They said that every person gets their own individual attack, I'll call it. So they attack each of us specifically that will work for us. So for me, it's men. For someone else, it may be money, it may be fame, it may be, you know, whatever it is. And that's what they're going to keep using. That's going to be the thing that they hold out for you to grasp. But when they said this, they just said something about, I think, now I don't hear them as clearly as I have in the past. They said something about children. And when I'm reading the news, meaning it's not coming through voices or anything like that, it's coming through legitimate sources, where children are being preyed upon on the internet with these games by offering them like points or like little things in the games. Meaning that's something that you can dangle in front of a victim and say, well, if you want these blah, 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 you got to do blah, blah, blah. And the stuff that they're telling these children to do are horrible things. They're using tactics similar to the tactics they tried to use on me. Like, take a picture of this or do that or bring in your little friends. That is part of what I'm talking about. It's a form of getting you to suck in more people. So it's bad enough it happens to you. But then it's like drag in this person, drag in that person, so that by the time you